let's bring in CP24's Nick Dixon on a very cool assignment. He's up in Chopper 24 this morning, giving us a bird's eye view of how the city is prepping to welcome thousands, perhaps millions of fans to our city for the World Cup in 100 days. Nick.
Oh, and take a look at this live shot right now over top of BMO Field, which is going to be converted, of course, into Toronto Stadium. Beautifully lit up this morning. It's amazing. You can see some of the temporary seats that are in there as well. That is going to be, of course, be the epicenter of World Cup festivities here, of World Cup events, of course, in the city. But there is so much more to get to and so much more to talk about. And we thought we'd go back to kind of the beginning of Toronto being part of this FIFA World Cup 2026 and bring in former Toronto Mayor John Tory this morning to talk now about this. Here we are, Mr. Tory, about 100 days out now from the start of the World Cup. When you first, brought this idea to council and council was discussing this, did you ever sort of think ahead to a day like this when Toronto would be this close to hosting a World Cup match?
Well, these things always seem far away when you bid on them. And I just felt this city, given that it is the most diverse city in the world and given that there's a great love for the game of soccer. You know, when the World Cup isn't here, all the years going back, the city's alive with people in every community. Every sort of team that's playing seems to have a community here that supports it. And I just felt for us not to take advantage of that and be one of the host cities for North America when we had this once-in-a-lifetime chance to bid was something that wouldn't be the right thing to do. So we bid, and now it is exciting that it's going to happen. And I think that always gets some of the naysaying politicians off what they've been saying and gets the people excited. And that's what this is about. This is about the people. This is the theme for this in Toronto is appropriately the world in a city, because that's what we have here. And so it means no matter who's playing in the games we have and across the world, people will be excited about it, and people will be watching Toronto from around the world, which I think is going to be great for the city in terms of tourism and investment. So we can be very proud that it's going to happen here, and it's very exciting.
Now, you don't have the perch you once had at City Hall, but do you think that the city is ready from all you're seeing, all you're hearing, all you're watching and observing? Do you think Toronto is ready, or as ready as it can be to host the World?
I think we're ready. I think we're ready in terms of our enthusiasm, for sure. I mean, the enthusiasm is there among the people, even if there are people who are not as enthusiastic. But I think that we're going to be ready in terms of all the logistics, because we're good at that. We saw how we did with the Pan Am Games. And when it came time for us to put those on, we put them on in a way that was, something very proud for the city and for the whole country. So I think we're going to be ready. I think that this broadcast on CP24 helps to get people in the mood. I think the FanFest is going to be fantastic at Fort York. I think the stadium is going to be the most intimate stadiums of all of the World Cup cities across North America. And I think that opening game where Canada, for the first time ever, gets to play a World Cup game on home soil is going to be something very, very special indeed.
That's remarkable. And, FanFest, I think, is a key part of this, because that's going to be free, at least the FanFest of Fort York, which will really give an opportunity for really everyone or almost anyone who wants to check out some of the action, who can't maybe afford a ticket or be lucky enough to get a ticket. I mean, you know how in demand those tickets are. How essential is that, the idea that you can really bring so many thousands of people as close almost as they can get to the World Cup without having to sort of, remortgage their home, for example?
Yeah, well, the FanFest is going to be at Fort York. It's going to be accessible to people. The price is going to be right, as you said. And I think it's what the World Cup's all about when it comes to Toronto. The games are going to be great, and people will watch those in stadium or otherwise, but I think it's the FanFest. And we've always had kind of a FanFest here in Toronto when World Cup was on. We've just had it neighborhood by neighborhood. We'll still have that. But we're also going to have a great central gathering place at Fort York where people can come, they can experience the games, they can have fun, they can celebrate the different cultures from around the world, eat great food, have great entertainment. And so I think it's going to be just a wonderful thing that's going to, I think we need that right now. We need a bit of a positive break in all this sort of negative news and chaos around the world. We need to have something to remind us of who we are here. We are the world in a city. We do love this beautiful game. And we're going to have some great legacy from it, too. There's going to be some 12 mini pitches across the city that are being paid for philanthropically in different parks and public spaces where people will be able to carry on playing and experiencing and learning the game of soccer for years to come after this World Cup's over. It's just great.
And how important is it that it is a success? I mean, we've seen, anybody who lives in Toronto knows about the congestion issues, traffic issues, things like that, construction. This is a busy city. This is a city where a lot is going on, and traffic, for example, can be a challenge. How important is it that when the world sees Toronto, that they see a smooth and as seamless an event and a run organization as possible?
Well, we're used to talking about, the Super Bowl and, of course, the Olympics and different things, the four-team hockey tournament that we had last winter being big attractions on television. The World Cup is like the Super Bowl every single day. There's game, and all those games that are on 6 times from Toronto is going to showcase our city. And so I think it is important that it come off well. It will come off well because the preparations have been made over the years, starting from when we put the bid in. But it's very important because we don't realize the hundreds and hundreds of millions of people. You mentioned earlier on visitors who will come and fill up those hotel rooms and fill up those restaurants. But there'll be hundreds of millions of people watching every game. And we want to make sure that it puts the best face possible on our city because it's important to what I think is a central issue and concern for us at the moment, which is a strong economy and making sure that we can have jobs for people. The World Cup, by the way, will create thousands of jobs while it's on here in Toronto and hundreds of millions of dollars of spending that goes on in terms of economic activity in restaurants, in hotels, and all over the place. So it's important to put it on well. I know we will.
Sorry, there's a little disconnect here. But let's wrap it on that point because this is going to be an enormous thing for the city as we take another live look down at BMO Fairmont now. There's going to be so much happening in and around here. John Tory, do appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us here, and I'm sure we'll be seeing much more as we get closer to the actual kickoff 100 days from now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nate.